And we are live here on Fireside Yankees. I'm just learning how to use OBS, guys. I'm really sorry for the delay in the stream, but we are live here on Fireside Yankees. Again, very sorry. If you were in the other broadcast, you probably saw me faceplant essentially and not be able to stream it on the YouTube, but we are here. We are live. We really appreciate your continued support right here on Fireside Yankees. If you're here watching this on the YouTube, send in a Let's Go Yankees. Let's keep this going with the chat, and this should display the chat here. I'm not sure. I think I cropped it out actually, so we're gonna work on this. We're gonna get better together at this. I think I figured it out right here. There we go. I've extended it so you guys can see the live chat. So you guys are gonna be able to read alongside with me. It'll be on the screen here. Again, we really appreciate you guys tuning in here on Fireside Yankees. I've sent the link out on Twitter, and now let's just jump straight into this because I think that there are so many interesting things to go on in Yankee land. We've got A7X World OBS so much better. I agree. I think the quality of product is something that is going to be a lot better. So that's why I'm really particular to getting down with this and learning how to use it. MLB channel guy goes, Judge wants Belly back. Yep, we'll talk about that report from John Heyman. John Blow, my guy. John, hope we're doing well. We got Josid Finn. Hope you had a Merry Christmas. Hope you had a Merry Christmas as well. I have my little Yankee Santa hat on. And he says, let's go Yankees. Let's go Yankees, my man. L Train saying, what's good? What's good, my man? We've got a lot of fun stuff to talk about. Aiden's here saying, what's up? We've got Lemmy Cruz saying, let's go. CWE is here. Mr. Drago's here. Let's get into all of the action going on in Yankee land. By action, I mean, there's nothing going on. Right? There's absolutely nothing going on in Yankee land right now. If you're a Yankee fan, you're fully aware that this is a market freeze. Like, there's so little going on in Yankee land. It is kind of depressing how little's going on. It almost kind of makes it so it's not that I'm having a boring time on here, but I'm having a boring time trying to, I think we can all agree it's been boring to talk about the Yankees for a little bit, and they need to kind of get things going there. We've got Zachary Goldstein, my guy. Hey, Ryan, I feel like the Heyman article was complete leverage. So let's jump into it. I think we're ready to go in. We're Cool Sports guys saying, let's go Yankees. Guys, are we ready to just jump into this? Because I think we're all kind of anticipating, hey, Ryan, shut up. Intro's over. Let's get into this. So I think that's where we're at. Now, let's get started talking about this John Heyman article. Now, John Heyman for the New York Post said two things that I found were interesting. Number one, he said that the Yankees they seem confident that Cody Bellinger won't do what Juan Soto did, which was leave the Yankees for the Mets. That the Yankees seem confident that won't happen. Now, on the surface, it's all right, good. The Yankees feel confident about that. That's good. If you want Bellinger back, that's something you'd want to hear. Now, let's kind of, how do I put this? The source matters here. John Heyman's your source for this. John Heyman is a reputable reporter. John Heyman is a reputable reporter. He gets information from, various league or agent sources, but one source that we kind of know he gets information from is Scott Boras and his camp. Now, I don't believe that he gets paid to do Scott Boras's bidding. I think that's a big misconception people make. I do not think that he gets paid to do Scott Boras's bidding. But I do believe that getting information from Scott Boras means that you're going to get a biased perspective. You're getting the camp. You're going to get things that he would want out there. And I'm sure Heyman's aware of it. There's a game to this, guys. I mean, Heyman's aware of the fact that Boras's perspective is skewed towards his client. But part of this is, all right, I'm going to be able to break this deal when it goes. And you might think, that's stupid. Who cares? But at the end of the day, this is your job. The fact that John Heyman was able to report Soto signed with the Mets is something that's massive for his reputation, for his credibility, especially considering what happened with the the Judge stuff. So, I think at the end of the day, and I'm going to put on this hat under the headphones. I think at the end of the day, the Yankees are in this spot where Scott Boras is putting it out there to maybe go the Mets into making a higher offer if they're really involved. And I think the other part of that, which Zachary, I think, touched on in his comment as well, is Aaron Judge, having it come out that Aaron Judge wants Cody Bellinger back is something that would also goad another team into making an offer, because you would believe the Yankees are going to be hyper aggressive in their pursuit of Bellinger, because again, we're talking about a player. We're talking about a player who, is it's probable, it's likely that Judge actually really wants it back. That doesn't really shock me, So, I think that there's a lot to this that matters. Like, we need to have this conversation of like, dude, the Yankees want Bellinger back. We're aware of this. How can the Yankees? I think for Boris is a little there's some mind games being played here, but I do think when it comes to the Yankees' interest in bringing him back, I do believe in that being real. I think the Yankees want him back. I think Bellinger, all things equal, would come back to the Yankees, but that's neither here nor there. That's just my opinion. I think the industry perspective is that he's someone who would want to be back. Like, I think that's what the industry perspective is. So, we'll kind of keep going from there. But, as we get through some of the questions here, we're going to keep looking through some of them. And I apologize that they're not going to be displayed on the screen, but I'll be able to go back and read through the chat here. We've got a question. Amai has 1 week to sign. Yeah, I don't believe that's going to be for the New York Yankees, though. And then Zachary went, I'm sure they felt confident they could bring Soto back. They did, and they felt confident that they could get, they were confident that they could get Yamamoto. Sometimes when you're confident, things don't happen. Things don't happen the way you think it's going to happen. So, I think that's a really important point in all this. Like, it can be both true that the Yankees believe they're going to get the player back, and that the player is not coming back. And I do want to note, I mentioned this in the video I did earlier today, because I see a lot of comments like, yo, guys, why was Judge vocal about this but not Soto? He was vocal about Soto internally. I'm confident in that. This is not a report saying that Aaron Judge is contacting Juan Soto. Let's break down the words here, because I do believe I do believe it's a little bit like we've got to understand what is being reported here. The New York Yankees having Aaron Judge reaching out to Brian Cashman and Hal Steinbrenner to say, hey, I want Belly back, is not the same as him saying, hey, Belly, we want you back. The report is not that Aaron Judge has reached out to Cody Bellinger. The report is that Aaron Judge has reached out to the front office to advocate for the return of Cody Bellinger. The same way I'm sure he advocated to the front office for the return of Juan Soto. But the difference is that I don't think you needed to report that. No one needs to I don't think you guys need to be told that Aaron Judge wanted Soto back. No shit, he wanted Soto back, right? Like, that's one of those things where I think it kind of goes without saying. Now, I could be wrong. Maybe Judge didn't want Soto back, but I would find that highly unlikely given the strong relationship they had, given how productive Soto was. I would be stunned if he was like, no, I don't want Soto back. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. But, yeah. Let's keep it going with some more questions here from the chat. And if you guys are here, make sure you like. I'd really appreciate it. And subscribe if you have not done so already. Let's keep it rolling. Sources are speaking to me now today. That's funny. The Yankees, I wish the Yankees could or would trade for Jeremy Pena. It's unlikely, but definitely more possible than a Tatis trade. Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely more in terms of odds of being traded. Like, I'm sure Jeremy Pena has higher odds of being traded because he's a worse player than Tatis, although a very good one. It's still a near impossibility that the New York Yankees get the Astros, who trade one of their best players, if not their best player, to the New York Yankees. They didn't do it for Kyle Tucker. They were unwilling to trade Kyle Tucker to the Yankees last year. I'd be stunned if they were willing to trade Jeremy Pena to the Yankees this year. That's just kind of where I'm at. What do you think about the Yankees needing a right-handed catcher after trading away Narvaez, Trevino, and Torrens? So Luis Torrens was 24. Here's the timelines. Luis Torrens was, I think, May 24. Trevino was December alongside Narvaez in separate deals, but in the same month, I believe, of 24 as well. Now, in regards to Luis Torrens, probably the guy I have the most, damn about trading, because you got nothing back, although he's not very good. Again, I'm not trying to say that to be like the Yankees should have had the wherewithal to know that Luis Torrens would be a decent major league catcher. It's just that if I could undo any of these transactions, I would undo the Torrens one, because you got nothing out of it. For Narvaez, you got Elmer Rodriguez. I would want to wait and see how he performs before I declare that I would go back and undo that trade. And in the case of Trevino, he did not hit well against lefties. He was actually worse against lefties and righties this year, and he wasn't good offensively, and his glove took a step back. So I think you got you got the Reds got the short end of the stick here, to say the very least. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with that. But that's neither here nor there. We've got some other questions here. Fired up for the World Baseball Classic. Does the USA scare you? From Michael Greco. Look, me personally, honest to God, like, yeah, USA's, I think, the best team on paper. Japan's, I think, the second best, or the 1B to the USA. I think those are going to be the two favorites. Japan, I think, will always play better than the perceived talent gap, and I'm going to put that, like, heavy quotation marks, like the perceived talent gap. We don't have finalized rosters yet. I think I can judge these rosters when we get to spring training, but the thing that scares me with Team DR, or the Dominican Republic, is that their pitching staff is significantly worse than both squads. Team USA has the two best pitchers on the planet. You have a great closer in Bednar. I don't know who. They have Miller. They don't have Bednar's not even the closer. They have the best closer on the planet, arguably. That does scare me. Their quality and depth of pitching. McLean, Holmes could be in that bullpen, or a Bolt guy. Like, they've got arms for days, dude. It's terrifying how loaded they are pitching wise. The Dominican Republic's not going to have that pitching quality. One of their top options is going to be Framber Valdez, but he's a free agent. I would be stunned if his next team, which likely won't be the Astros based on, like, initial offseason reporting, but I guess you can't rule out anything at this point. But based on what we know with the fact that he's going to be on a new team, I would doubt that the Team DR gets into play for them. So that is one of their, like, 2 or 3 best pitchers active from the country. That's I mean, you don't have a pitcher better than Skeens or Scooble who's come from the Dominican Republic. The best pitcher, what could swing this for me is if Christopher Sanchez pitches in this tournament. If Christopher Sanchez pitches in this tournament, they could be really, really, really dangerous. But if they don't, that'll be an issue. And again, they have the offense. I think you can put together a bullpen. I'm not scared about the bullpen. I'm not scared about the offense. I'm scared about the pitching. I mean, Team USA has the best hitter on the planet. Team Japan has the second best hitter on the planet, and you could argue the best player on the planet, depending on whether you think Judge or Ohtani's better when Ohtani's pitching, although Ohtani's not going to be pitching. So in the context of this tournament, Judge is the best player, probably. And I see this comment here that Edward Cabrera could hit. I don't know if he has, but he wouldn't make that rotation for Team USA. Like, he's not close to touching that rotation. I would rather have Nolan McLean than have Edward Cabrera pitch for me. So, like, that's an issue. That is an issue. We are really, really, really. Team DR is going to need their offense to really, like, mash throughout the postseason, or throughout the tournament, in order to have that work. Let's keep going here with breaking news. Harrison Bader signs a 2-year, $38 million per my sources. If the Yankees give Harrison Bader a 2-year deal at nearly $20 million with no way to get out of that deal after the first year, I'm going to be so upset. Like, I'm going to be so mad. That would be horrible. I would blow up in anger. Let's see what else we've got here. Austin Hayes, the backup plan is unbelievable. I think the Austin Hayes backup plan is a very smart way to hear me out. I think it's a very smart way for them to organize and orchestrate their offense. Because if the Yankees are not going to spend a lot of money on an outfielder, they should spend money elsewhere. Now, I don't know if they'd actually do this, but what I would do is I would take that money and say, hey, like, Framber, you're going to sign a 3-year deal with opt-outs? Like, here's $30 million a year, opt-outs after every year. Screw the draft picks. Let's go load up the rotation. Don't have to trade for a starter. Hayes, $5 million. Get that done. Go out there, pick up another right-handed bat if you want, or go add to the bullpen. Like, you can build a pretty quality team doing that. If the Yankees don't sign Bellinger, they need to spend the money elsewhere. That's my logic. I obviously believe the New York Yankees should just sign Kyle Tucker, but that's neither here nor there. Zachary, I like the idea of, signing Hayes, and having him, like, be a guy you still have, even if you get Cody Bellinger as your fourth outfielder, because you can play Bellinger at first and you can put Rice at catcher against lefties. Like, I like that idea too. That's a pretty sick idea. Me personally, like, I fuck with that heavily. The Yankees aren't a serious organization. Sad times. Hey, the way they've been operating so far, I think with not going after Tucker, it's really hard to have this conversation because I both acknowledge that not going after Kyle Tucker is a sin, essentially. And in regard to like in regard to the way they're handling Bellinger, I'm not upset with the way they're handling Bellinger. I'm upset with the fact they're not going after Tucker. So I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know if that, like, it's frustration on one side and then understanding on the other side. But the Bellinger part of this conversation, like, he's waiting out the market. He's not going to sign a contract yet. Like, he hasn't done anything. You would be avoiding this if you were in hot pursuit of Kyle Tucker potentially. So that's where, again, it's really, really, really frustrating to me. I really don't understand the affinity for Bellinger over Tucker. And I think, I understand it. It's financial, but I don't understand how we are this deep into the Aaron Judge era without a World Series championship, and the mentality is still not, let's go all in. Like, Hal Steinbrenner, let's be real about this. Hal Steinbrenner is failing at his job of being the owner of the New York Yankees. He is not stepping up the way the owner of the New York Yankees should. He is not the man or the owner that should be manning. Like, he should not be the owner of the Yankees if this is how he's going to operate. There is no other way to put it. You know, I don't want to be overly critical because I think that there are extents where it just gets crazy, where people say things that just aren't true, right? There are just things said that aren't true. But this is true. It's true in the sense of, it's not right. Like, this is not right. What Hal's doing is not right. If the Yankees want to win a World Series with Aaron Judge, put your money where your mouth is. All I'm asking is 1 year where you go 330, 340 with the payroll. And then you want to reset the luxury tax? Fine. Understandable. But go out there and do it. Go out there and do it, right? Because there's simply no way you can sit here and tell me you can't make the additions needed to make this team better. And the other thing is, too, like, do you guys have the confidence that if they were to miss on Bellinger, they're going to spend that money elsewhere? I sit here and go, oh, look, if the Yankees, they miss out on Bellinger, go get Hayes, go do that, go do this. Are they going to reinvest that money? Like, you could do something like, hey, let's go sign Austin Hayes. Let's go sign Bichette. Bring him in as a bat. I don't know where you'd play him. I don't know what the contract figure. Like, I'm not a big Bichette guy, but I think, like, just spend the money to spend the money at that point. Maybe play him at third. I really don't care at that point. I could not give less of a crap at that point. You just need you need a player to fill that financial gap for you. I don't have the confidence Hal would do that, because why would I have that confidence? Not being after Tucker is an embarrassment. Tucker has zero market. You're going to be able to sign this guy potentially at a below market value deal, or a deal that was considered below market value going into the offseason. This is a guy who hits the ball pretty hard, who runs the bases pretty well, who hits the ball a lot, makes a lot of high contact quantity, high contact quality, high walk rate, high plate discipline. Like, this guy checks all your boxes, hits lefties, hits righties, whatever it may be. I don't give a shit that he can't play left field the level that Bellinger can. This guy's a baller, right? This guy's a baller. We're talking about a 150 potential OPS plus bat in New York. Where's Hal on this? Right? Where's Hal on this? And, let's talk about the rotation, because I got a question about, like, do you think, what are the odds the Yankees add a playoff impact starter? If they're not going to go after the free agent market, I'm going to be honest with you guys. It's not 50% for me. It's below. Because, like, yes, to answer briefly, like, I'm pretty confident they're not going to get Tatsuya Imai. I'm pretty confident they're not adding up a Tatsuya Imai. And, for Tatsuya Imai, I think he can be really good next year. My evaluation of him as a starting pitcher has not changed. I got to say this with the reliever, too. You're not going to sign a starter. You're not going to sign a reliever. Like, what is the fucking plan with the pitching staff? Because, I got to say this time and time again. This pitching staff isn't good enough. This pitching staff is not good enough. This pitching staff is not good enough. It's not good enough. It's still not good enough. It'll never be good enough. This pitching staff will get smoked out by the Blue Jays. It'll get smoked out by the Red Sox. It'll get smoked out by any competitive American League offense in a playoff setting. This pitching staff got its shit kicked in 25. They got their teeth kicked in by the Dodgers in 24. They haven't gotten consistent starting pitching in that situation. And yes, you keep throwing the money at the problem until it figures itself out. That is what the Dodgers did. That is what you should do. Keep throwing money at the problem. Keep spending resources and assets on the problem. I can't hear the argument of, well, what, you want 4 big contracts? Yeah. I want 4 big pitching contracts. Yes. We're the Yankees. Yes. What? Yes. Yes. Spend it. Yes. Spend it. Spend it. Yes. Yes. So you want to, what, you want to block a rotation spot for one of Heel and Warren? Yes. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yes. 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 If everyone's healthy, I want to block one of the rotation spots. Because they don't make the Dodger rotation. See, Warren and Heel don't make the Dodger rotation. Rodon doesn't make the Dodger rotation. You guys think Rodon makes the playoff Dodger rotation? The names they've got on that staff? I'm not saying it to say that, Rodon sucks, but is Rodon better than Yamamoto, Snell, Glasnow, Ohtani? Any of the four? Chat, please. Answer away, give me your thoughts. Don't see how he's better than any of the four. Fried is your best starter. Fried is a very good starting pitcher. Fried would be, somewhere between that Yamamoto, Snell, Ohtani group of starters. Somewhere in that group. Where is Cole going to rank in that group? After operation on his right elbow at the age of 34, now entering the age of 35, turning 36 in September. How's that going to happen? Right? Yeah, and look, the chat is kind of saying the same thing I'm saying. Like, this is not a hate on Rodon. I like Carlos Rodon. Great dude. Great guy. Like, this is a great guy, first and foremost. Everything you read about this guy, presence with the young players, his love for, the way he's evolved as a pitcher, the way he's bought into the profile that the Yankees have built out for him, changeups, sinkers, not just fastball sliders, the evolution of Carlos Rodon. Right? The evolution of Carlos Rodon. Definitely something you love to see. But man, like, how can you sit here and tell me we can rely on this? I mean, let's ignore the reliance on a per start-to-start basis in terms of ability. Let's talk about availability. How can you tell me you're going to bank that all four of Fried, Rodon, Cole, and Schlitt will come back? And do not tell me, well, at the trade deadline. No. When's the last time the Yankees have traded for a starting pitcher at the trade deadline of serious impact? 23? No. 24? No. 25? No. Who's the best starter that's been moved in the last few deadlines? Good starting pitchers cost a premium. We've got to stop talking about trading for a starting pitcher like it's, trade Justice Sheffield and a couple of slapdicks. It costs you a big-time piece. You know what? It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to try and trade for one without Jason Dominguez being an expendable piece, which is why Bellinger is kind of important to this plan. Yeah, Frankie Montas, last starter the Yankees have traded for. Last starter the Yankees have traded for. 2022. You know how many players in the 2022 roster are still in the 2026 Yankees or are going to be on the 2026 Yankees? I'll tell them for you right now. Judge, Stanton, Cole, Heel, although he didn't pitch on the 22 team. Oh, no, he did. He did pitch in 22. So, Heel. Nobody in the bullpen. Just those guys. Schmidt. About 80% of your roster wasn't here in 2022, either at the minor league level or in a different organization. He needs someone you traded for in 21, 20 no trades, 19 no trades, 18 Like, guys, this is not the Yankees have, during the earlier Judge years, they traded for starters at the deadline, but they have not traded for starting. It's hard to do. It's hard to pull off. It's difficult. If it were easy, teams would do it more frequently. The Yankees need to go trade or sign a starting pitcher, but they're banking on trading or trying to sign a starting pitcher. And there's no one to sign of value outside of a Framber or Ranger Suarez, who you're not going to pay for. You're out on a Mai. You've got to trade for a guy, but you don't have the farm system to do it, and you can't trade someone like Jason Dominguez until you sign Cody Bellinger. Now, if you trade a Warren for a starting pitcher, again, it's this very weird, very strange, very, like, it's just one of those things where this staff needs support. And until I see this staff get support, I'm under the impression it is growing less likely and less likely and less likely. That's where I'm at. You need a starting pitcher. Do not let anybody tell you. Do not let anybody tell you that this staff can get through it without it. They need another starter. Don't tell me, well, they've got prospects. Yeah, that's cool. Why would you want to rush prospects up? Why is it a solid strategy? We cannot use Cam Schlittler as an example of what happens when you call up a starter. Will Warren's can happen when you call up a starter. Will Warren in 24 was unusable. This can just happen, by the way. This can just happen. This can just happen. And Zachary, I agree. I would rather trade Heel than Warren, just given the years of control. I think Warren has a pretty high ceiling, too. I like Warren, not like as an ace, but I think he could be a number 3 starter. I'm just saying, even someone like Warren, who was considered a pretty good prospect, not like a lock for a top 100 prospect, but like a back-end guy there. And he stunk his first year. His first, 12 or 13 career starts were horrendous. This guy was terrible to start his major league career. That happens. That's baseball. So when you go, well, just call PR Elmer Rodriguez. This can happen to him too. Let's look at Will Warren's first 12 appearances with the Yankees. 7.91 ERA, 4.50 FIP. Yikes. 1.54 home runs per 9. Yikes. Oh, wait, it gets worse. It actually gets worse. 7.71 ERA if you look at his first 13 outings. His next 26, 4.17 ERA, 4.05 FIP, 4.08 skill interactive ERA. Like, he went from a horrendous starting pitcher to a slightly, like average to slightly above average starting pitcher. A good starter. A good back-end starter, sorry. Not an elite starter, not a dominant starter, but he's progressed from awful to solid. And I'm sure if you contract him and you put him in a reliever role, stuff upticks, he pitches a lot better. Anywho, yeah, look, with Imai, the understanding is with Imai that there's some rumors about, and I saw Yankee source kind of address this, like there's some rumors of like off-field conduct or like non-baseball concerns that are there. And I don't believe the New York Yankees should. I don't know how real anything is. Like, I obviously haven't met the guy. I don't know him. I know of him. I don't know him. And I want to note that. But if there are any concerns with that, I wonder how the market's going to view him. I don't know. We'll see. You know what? This is interesting. I see some of the comments here like, Warren, it would be a free agent of his type would get $10 to $15 million. Jose Barrios, Warren is very much a guy who gets major league starts, even on a contender. And considering that he cost nothing, he's incredibly valuable because of that. And there's a chance that the guy's an above average starter. I just mentioned, I mentioned the ERA of 4.17 over his last 26 starts. So the lock-in period, he's dialed in a little bit more. The FIP is above average over this stretch. The expected FIP is above average over this stretch. Their strikeout to walk rate is slightly better than average. There are some things to like here. The question is, again, can they get some more swing and miss out of this profile? I think you kind of hoped you could get a little more whiff. There is a lot of called strikes in this profile. You need to get some more whiff, some more chase. Again, I think it's a command thing. As Cam Schlittler notes, the sweeper command isn't there. But is that something that he can work on? Is that a Q thing? Is that I kind of want to. I hate making it seem like he's going to be Michael King. He's not going to be Michael King, most likely. It's very hard to repeat a 2.95 ERA over 173 innings. That is an ace-level starter outcome in terms of peak season. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that's what he's going to be. But what I can sit here and tell you is that if you look at Michael King's MLB career and you look at those first couple of years toiling around as a starter, from 2019 to, when he first came up, I remember 2020. I mean, that was bad. He moves to the bullpen in like June, I think. He spent some time in the IL. So his first 77 MLB innings, 5.03 ERA, strikeout rate of 21%, swinging strike rate of 9.1%. Just not a good pitcher. He was a firmly below average pitcher. And then he comes back from the IL in 21 as a reliever. He dominates. 22 obviously shatters the elbow, but has a really good year as a reliever. Like this was, I miss 2022 Michael King dearly. And I think there's a little bit of a nostalgia factor with Michael King that was here in free agency and was completely understandable. I mean, this guy was a freaking monster for the Yankees out of the bullpen. And then he misses the rest of the season, comes back in 23. There's some shakiness with the injury concerns, but I mean, the guy went through a bad June. I remember the discourse around him in June because he was like a bad reliever in June. And then he just turned his season around. He got it going as a starter after a couple of rocky starts. He really honed it down and was this guy that you could lean on as a starter. And then he gets traded for Soto. Like, King's career arc is a good reminder to be patient. Schmidt's career arc is a reminder to be patient, although obviously, he ended up getting hurt, and that's kind of hurt him a lot. It's really unfortunate what's happened to Schmidt because Schmidt kind of went through this path, and Schmidt kind of finally got it. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Anywho, Chris Bassett, rather have him than Blackburn. Look, I'd rather have Chris Bassett than nobody. Just to have an arm. Like, I think having an arm is important. I wouldn't be happy with Chris Bassett. I would not be happy with Chris Bassett, but I would take him over not doing anything, if that makes sense. Like, if it was like Chris Bassett on a 1-year deal, or doing nothing, I'll take Chris Bassett on the 1-year deal. Even though I don't think Bassett should take the ball for you in the postseason, he is the guy who's going to help you win regular season games, and that at least counts for something. I'd rather you do something than nothing is kind of my TLDR here. Please get Tucker a consistent all-star and top 15 position player in the league. Your cries will likely go unanswered. I apologize for killing that dream. I remember when a nightmare scenario was us running it back, and it might be the best case at this point. I don't think it was that for me. I think that, like, first emotions, maybe. I was definitely, like, I think there's, like, emotionally, which is, like, right after a season ends, I'm sure I'm going to give you some anger, emotionful thing. And I definitely believe that, like, not going after Kyle Tucker sucks. That's my thing, too. But in terms of, like, running it back, I don't have an issue running it back as much as I have an issue. Depends. Pitching staff will have an issue running it back. Although the bullpen, I would have been fine with them bringing back Williams and Weaver. It's better than whatever the fuck they're going to do this winter with the bullpen. Sorry. I would rather them. Like, I don't hate the offense. I liked this past year's offense. I think they get a lot of unfair blame for the postseason exit. I think that they are a good. This is a good group. This is a good group. Because one thing that the offense did have was versatility and the ability to platoon and mix and match and throw out left-handed lineups and right-handed lineups. I kind of hope they can have that in 2026. They had a lot of guys who did not have their contracts expiring. It was only Grisham and Bellinger in the starting lineup, I believe. And then on the bench, Rosario, Slater, Goldschmidt. And so they're bench players. Like, you were going to have, like, the roster, the way that free agency was going to work for the Yankees was a lot of guys were going to come back because not a lot of guys were hitting the market who were of note. So again, like, 7 of your 9 starters will have been the same from the end of the season. You're going to bring back Grisham, you're going to bring back Bellinger potentially, which was Tucker. But that's not the case. I don't think that's going to be a bad group. I'm pretty sure projections, like, love them. You don't have to love them, but I think they're firmly going to be good. And, I think that the way we look at the 25 Yankees is that, like, they were good. That was a good offense. It's a really good offense. I think the pitching staff was a little bit underwhelming for me, at least. And this is a good question here. So why were they going after Tucker? Heavy lost offseason, not to just pursue him in free agency. I'm going to be honest. I think the fact that the New York Yankees found a cheaper, like, I legitimately think money is why. I think it was money. There's no way you can convince me that the New York Yankees suddenly felt as if Kyle Tucker was a loser. That is a money thing. I think that they sat back and went, oh shit, Cody Bellinger's cheaper and we can keep him and we'll still be good. And that's what happened. Now, it's also possible that something is bad with his medicals and it's a well understood thing that I don't know of. It's possible. But my perspective is not that. Yeah. And Zachary, look, I agree. They had so many stupid losses. There were so many losses throughout the season that you just sat back and you went, how the hell do you lose that game? Dumb bullpen implosions. Honestly, bad defensive performances from guys who you expected to be better defensively. And that's part of this as well. I think they're going to be a better defensive group. At least that's what I hope is going to happen. This team has the ability to be a pretty good one, I think, in 2026 because of how well they positioned themselves offensively last year, how hard it would be for them to fall off that significantly. Like, let's pull up some numbers here. The Yankee offense, in terms of OPS, the gap between them and the Dodgers was pretty significant. It was greater than the gap between them. Like, the Dodgers' gap in OPS with the Yankees is nearly 20 points. That's a pretty notable gap. Like, that's a bigger gap than second and seventh. In weighted runs created plus, because OPS does not factor in park factors, but it does factor in just raw production. Now let's, normalize this for the ballpark production and all that stuff in league environment, this, that, and the third. The Yankees, 119 weighted runs created plus. Dodgers, 113. The Yankees were 19% better than league average. The Dodgers were 13% better than league average. The gap between the Yankees and the Dodgers this past year, the Dodgers, of course, being in second place, Mariners being in third place, tied with the Dodgers at 113, was greater than the gap between the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks. If you want to look at runs scored, which again is not park adjusted, the Yankees scored 24 more runs than second best Los Angeles. A greater gap, or a gap similar to the one that the Dodgers had with the Blue Jays. Point is, you were the best offense in baseball. That is what the Yankees were this past year in the regular season. Now, I know, the postseason, they didn't get it done, this, that, and the third. I get it, and that's not great. The Dodgers also didn't hit in the postseason this past year. Doesn't mean their lineup isn't built for October. It just means that they got better pitching performances that masked their poor offense. They had timely hitting, which isn't sticky, especially in small sample sizes. I'm not trying to tell you that this Yankee team succeeded in what their goal was, which was to win the World Series. But I do think a lot of people can't dissect what you should take away in terms of projecting for the future and what you should and what you should take what you should take away from the future and what you should ignore as hey, this is just noise, this can happen in small sample sizes, things of that nature. I look at postseason offense and I go, postseason offense is not something that you should use as a projection tool. What do I mean by that? Not to say that you shouldn't care if your team hit or didn't hit in the postseason. It's to say that if your team hit in the postseason, one postseason, it very much doesn't guarantee that you're going to hit in the next postseason. And you say they beat up on a lot of bad pitching. The Yankees were one of the best offenses in baseball against good pitching. That's not an exaggeration. I'm pretty sure they finished I think it was top 5 or top 6 or somewhere in that range in slugging percentage against pitchers with a top 20 ERA. They did a very good job of hitting good pitching compared to other teams. Now, hitting good pitching is hard, so obviously the slash line itself is not going to be pretty, but they did a good job in those scenarios, despite what anyone would tell you, because, yeah, it's easy to remember, Garrett Crochet shoving it down your throat, but if you face Garrett Crochet 4 times, he's probably going to shove it down your throat at least twice. And Garrett Crochet is a really good pitcher, don't get me wrong. Yeah, they struggled against Crochet. Garrett Crochet's good. I don't know how to put... Garrett Crochet is a 2.59 ERA. So, let's do this thought experiment. In order for you to... you'd have to perform better than a... So, how do I put this? if Garrett Crochet performs worse than his 2.59 ERA against you, I would say that you performed well against Garrett Crochet. Garrett Crochet this season had a 3.29 ERA against the Yankees. So his ERA was about, 0.8 runs higher. Right? Am I doing my math right? Hold on. No, is this actually a clean? Yes, a clean subtraction. 0.7. His ERA was 0.7 runs higher against the Yankees. So did he? I'm not saying he's not good. Like, I want to clarify what I'm saying here. Please, just let me word this out, because I know if there's a Red Sox fan here, they're going to be like, blah, 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 Yankees, you're a Yankee fan who thinks Crochet sucks. No, he's great. He's a top 2 or 3 pitcher in the sport. No. Skeen, Scooble, 1, 2, 3 or 4. Crochet performed worse against the Yankees than other teams. Like, if you remove his ERA against the Yankees, his ERA goes down. So, can we really sit here and say, like, the Yankees struggled against him, or did they do more than you would expect against him? Right? Like, is that, like, you know what I mean? Kevin Gausman did perform very well against the Yankees this year, but he's like a top 25 to 30-ish starter against the Yankees. And even this year, he had a 3.97 ERA. The Yankees absolutely beat the brakes off of him in April. And then he beat the brakes off of them in the postseason. He didn't really dominate. He dominated in two starts in the regular season. That is what happened. Like, he was still worse ERA-wise against us than he was against the field. Trey Savage did own us. It's one start. I would also, like, who would we consider the top 20 pitchers in baseball is essentially my question here. If you want to, I think Scooble is. Tarek Scooble, how did he perform against the Yankees? I think he killed us this year because he's Tarek Scooble. Yeah, he had one start and he shut us out. He was incredible. I forget that start. He was dominant. Yeah, he killed us that day. I think it was April. Yeah, he killed us in April. That first series that we played against them. Did we face Skeens this year? I don't think we played Paul Skeens this year. No, we didn't face Paul Skeens this year. How is it clickbait? This is the dumbest comment I get from some people sometimes. The Yankees are stuck in a Cody Bellinger drought, I think is the title of this, with outfield freeze. Are they not stuck in Cody Bellinger not moving? Like, he hasn't gone off the board? Is that clickbait? Are we gonna sit here and say it's clickbait to say the Yankees are in a drought in free agency right now because of the fact that Cody Bellinger hasn't signed? Chat, would you like to, like, tell me? Look, if I'm wrong, if I am clickbaiting you on this video, please let me know. I like criticism. I think it's important. I'm not trying to be dickheads to you guys, because I think we can all agree that, like, look, obviously, you got to exaggerate some titles to get clicks. It is what it is. It's the business. But if I'm completely misleading you, then, like, please let me know. I'm more than happy to get back on track. Cam Schlittler didn't. Skeens pitched against us in 24. I'm looking at 25. Let's see. Let's keep looking at, like, top pitchers. Did we face Christopher Sanchez this year? Not saying Jason Dominguez becomes Bobby Witt Jr., but Witt was the same age as Jason his rookie year and struggled badly, even defensively. Talent takes time. Look, I don't think it's crazy to say that. Like, I don't think, not that he's going to be Bobby Witt Jr., but it's not crazy to say, like, hey, he can be really good. Like, that's possible. And, I'm not going to sit here. I'm not going to sit here and tell you. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that, like, Jason's a star. Like, look, my honest opinion is I think he's a really bad defender, and I don't think it's going to get better. That's my opinion, and I could be wrong. That I could be wrong on that. I could be super wrong on that. And if I'm wrong, like, it is what it is. I hope I'm wrong. But I do believe that offensively there's more to unlock here because I think there's a good combination of power and speed. He's a freak athlete. Could he be a 120 OPS plus player one day? Absolutely. So that's kind of my perception on that. I remember when Grisham took Skeens deep in spring training. Oh my God, I don't remember that. What do you think about bringing Gary Sanchez back? If he could frame, yes, but I don't think he can frame, so no. Trying to look at, like, more good starters. Crochet, we were talking about. Did we face Logan Webb this year, guys? I know we faced him last year. Guys, I'm looking at 25. I'm not looking at before. I'm looking at 25. We faced Webb this year. He pitched 5 innings. He gave up 3 runs. So far, Skeens is the only one in the top 5 in wins above replacement who we faced and didn't perform well. So we crushed Yamamoto this year. We faced him once. Rice hit that home run off of him. Did we face Jesus Luzardo? I think we did. I think he owned us. No, we did not. I'm wrong. obviously, we didn't face Max Fried. We have him. Hunter Brown. I think Hunter Brown had like a 5-inning, 2 earned run start. 5 innings, 2 runs, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. A solid start. But, like, again, ERA was worse than his 2.43 this year. Gossman, same thing. His ERA was worse than his ERA. His ERA in the season was better than his ERA against us. Framber, we beat up Framber this year. We owned the shit out of Framber this year. Point is, guys, the Yankees were beating up on some of these starters. We've got to stop. Right? We've got to stop. Would Logan Wellett be dealt? No, and if he was, I would trade anything for him because that guy is on a ridiculously good contract and he'd be so well. Yeah, we killed Framber. Wheeler we crushed him in that one start, but he also had the blood clot, so it was like a couple weeks after we faced him too. I'm not saying that's why we beat up on him. We actually have beaten up on him a couple of times. But I'm just saying, like, you know, I don't know, man. I think we're over-exaggerating. Like, the Yankees beat, like, there's some good starting pitchers in that group, and there's some guys the Yankees beat the absolute shit out of. We cost Framber Valdez a lot of money, probably. I remember, yes, McMahon comes over and he hits that RBI double down the line against Wheeler. He pulls a grounder down the line that stayed fair. I think the Martian's going to be an excellent player at multiple All-Star appearances. I think the Yankees will trade him, unfortunately. I don't think he'll make multiple All-Star teams. I think his defense will always keep him from being that. Like, I think the hope is like a Taylor Ward kind of hitter, not in terms of profile, but in terms of like how good he is relative to the league average hitter, which is peak at like 20% better. The ballpark has never been great for Ward either. I think Jason's got a better ballpark fit. Not a great defender at all. Like, I think Jason will never be a positive defender even. Let's sign Castellanos? Fuck no. Miguel Andujar, I will bring the dude. I love the dude, man. I love Miguel Andujar. I love what Miguel Andujar is right now. I didn't love him in like the final years of the Yankees. Like, I actually really wanted him off the team, but I'll always love a good version of Miguel Andujar. I mean, it sounds like really lame. Like, yeah, you know, no shit. You like a player when he's good. But the thing I really like about what he was in, you know, what Andujar was the helicopter swing. The helicopter swing was tough, man. Helicopter swing was tough. She was tough. Yankees should sign Bo or Suarez. No, on Eugenio Suarez. I think he is a regression monster waiting to happen. Swinging strike rates increased. The whiff rate's really bad. I just don't like the profile. I'm sorry, guys. I don't like the profile for Suarez. Look, you know, maybe it's going to Seattle batter eye. Like, sometimes I can F you up, but like, I liked him as like a 1 year, get him for half a year, go from there. The team I think should sign him is the Pirates. I think the Pirates should sign him. He's going to be cheap power. They need cheap power badly, and if they add him to their offense, that offense might actually do something, because then your offense could look like, I mean, if you're the Pirates, you add a big righty bat, which is what they need right now. They do not have a good right-handed hitter. They need somebody like that. And then your offense could be, I mean, Jared Triolo's not bad, but I don't know. I'm not a Jared Triolo guy, me personally. Like, he's not bad. He's just, I think he's better as like a, you know, a utility guy. Problem is your infield defense is going to suck. Spencer Horwitz. Can he play any position of the, he's a solid defensive first baseman. Hearn's a better one. Here's what I would do. Here's what I'd do if I'm the Pirates. I don't think I'd touch Suarez. I think I'd try and go get a different power bat. Right-handed power bat. Maybe an outfielder. I don't know. Yeah, this is kind of the perfect market for the Pirates to spend in, because you're going to get, you know, this is not a market where people want to spend money on free agents. You know, no one likes this free agent class, so, yeah. Damn, even if you got no hope for Dominguez defense, then he will never live up to the hype. I mean, I think the issue is that he's a corner outfield defender who isn't a good defense. Who isn't a good defender. And, you know, I'm trying to, like, sit here and say this in a positive way. You know, I really like Jason Dominguez's makeup. I've heard so much good about him as a person. And so, yeah, it's one of those things where that really makes me sad. You know, that makes me really sad, because I've heard so much good about him. I met him after, I'll tell you guys a story in 2023. I met him after a game where the Patriots were playing the Rumble Ponies. the Somerset Patriots and the Binghamton Roma Ponies were playing on I think it was Saturday afternoon. I worked the radio station for the Rumble Ponies as a producer, as a board operator, not a producer, as a board operator for the radio station. And then I'm leaving the station, and I run into Jason Dominguez, and I think Jason Rosario. And I think I ran into Carlos Narvaez as well. I think I also met Carlos Narvaez. And he was really cool. Like, Jason wasn't like, nah, don't talk to me, bro. Like, I'm done. I was like, are you Jason Dominguez, sir? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, can I take a quick picture? It's a pleasure meeting you, man. And Jason Rosario, who's I think in the A's system or wasn't a bit, I forget where he is now in pro ball, but he was really cool about it. He helped us take a picture. Jason is yoked. I remember the night before I was at the game, and seeing him spend as much time as he did signing autographs for people after the game. When the game's over, it's nighttime. Like, you just want to go home and sleep. You got a game the next day in the afternoon. He's a very nice guy. He's a very hardworking guy. It's really just, I just, man, it makes me so happy it makes me happy to know he's a big leaguer, but it makes me sad that, like, dude, if the Yankees didn't have like Grisham and Bellinger breakout, maybe he's still here. But he's not a center fielder. It's just, it's tough. It's tough. It really is difficult. So yeah, owners have won every deal this offseason except for C's. Well, we say that, but like, did the issue with saying an owner won a deal is that we have to let it play out. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Is NY going to have a full blizzard? It's lightly snowing now and really snowing an hour ago. It's supposed to snow for 4 days. Is it? Is that really? Oh, man. I'm trying to travel. I'm trying to do something next couple. It's not supposed to snow Sunday. Yeah, well, it's going to be warm on Sunday, actually, so it should melt away, which should help. Oh, which is nice. Free agent class. Yeah, the free agent class sucks next year. Day after Christmas and at work, what's better than Ryan talking Yankees to me? I appreciate that, man. I hope you're having a good night. It sucks after work today, I imagine, but, like, it is what it is. I hope you can get through it. Hope get you through your shift. And if you're in the Northeast, man, hope you get home safe. So, yeah. In the great city of Binghamton, yeah. Dude, Binghamton's a place, man. I like Binghamton. I can't lie. I like Binghamton. By the way, you've never been clickbait and you're smart, so I just watch. Just don't speak much. Me and my son watch daily. We are now. I appreciate that, Paranormal in the Funhouse. I really do, man. And I apologize for some of the language, considering you watched your son. So, yeah. I was not in Binghamton when Tebow Mania went down. I was in Binghamton. So, this is some Fireside Yankees channel lore if you were watching in, like, 2022 and 2023. Some Fireside Yankees lore here. I was in Binghamton from 22 to 23 because I was a student in the local community college Broome and with the intent of transferring to Bing. And then this kept growing, and I was like, all right, I can't really have the distractions of going to college in Binghamton if I want to go to school and both like succeed academically and do well at work. So I moved back home, and I moved in with my parents again after moving out to go to college. And it's been good ever since. I still go to college. I just go locally. But, yeah, that's the lore. And so I was in Binghamton, and I spent a summer in 23 working as a board operator for WNBF, which is the radio station there. Yeah, that's the lore behind me being in Binghamton. So I was not there in 16, but I was there in 22 and 23. There's so much pitching next offseason. That actually is a good point. I kind of forgot about that. Paul Skeen's a fucking free agent. What am I talking about? My sister goes to Bing. Binghamton's a good school. I need to get away from the distractions for me personally. But that's because I wasn't very disciplined as an 18-year-old. So, yeah. A lot of Binghamton people. A lot of Binghamton people here. You went to Binghamton for 16, 19. That's 20. That's cool. That's cool, man. That's cool. Martian's young. His defense will improve over time. I hope. I really do. I really hope. I really do hope. I really do hope. Small world. Yeah, dude. Crazy. You got Nico Horner being a free agent next year and Jeremy Pena in 2 seasons. Besides them, it's absolute trash. Position player-wise, yes, terrible. I appreciate this channel not being a bash Yankees channel. Too many of those clickbait channels. Look, I think I try to be fair. Like, I criticize when I think it's valid. I do not believe in not criticizing ever. But I also don't believe in, like, the Yankees clearly have this undying attachment to Anthony Volpe. I hate Anthony Volpe, and I hate the Yankees and this. Like, it's like, all right, dude. Like, they didn't bench Volpe because they didn't Heck, Oswald Peraza's his backup, bro. Like that's why that was. When it comes to even something as simple as like, hey, like I think Austin Wells doesn't suck, and I think the Yankees' perception of him is probably closer to the accurate one than the people who think he sucks. But that's neither here nor there. Yeah, not everything should be fire, Boone, Cash, Cal. Yeah, there's a difference between. There's a difference, I think, between criticism, as Cam Schiller noted, and like just being an asshole. Like I get upset about things, but I think I also get upset about very niche things, which is like I'm just kind of a loser in that regard. Like I'm very particular as a person. But I don't know. I personally think like I don't know. I just think that there's like kind of just chill a little. That's kind of it too. Like I get to do this for a job. Should be a little thankful. That's kind of where I'm at. Larry goes, Ryan, the Yankees have been boring. They've done nothing at all. Why don't they trade for Tatis or sign Tucker or Bichette? I agree on Tucker. Tatis isn't getting traded. And, Bichette, I kind of want to wait on the term, find out what the term of that contract is before I decide whether I would be upset that they did or did not sign him. I grew up 10 minutes from Binghamton, used to go to the campus for pitching camps. That's really cool, dude. Their facilities have gotten a lot better over the last like 3 or 4 years. Sorry. But, yeah. Clint Frazier, I'm on one of those channels. In what regard? I'm trying to just make sure I get your point. Stretching here, Dalton Varsho, free agent after 26, I believe. He's good. He's just, like, injury prone. That's really the issue because, like, I think on a per-game basis, he's freaking sick. And if he were to hit free agency and he kind of shows that he's, like, a durable option in center field, I'm throwing a bag at him because that dude can ball in center field. That guy balls in center. And he's got pop, man. Like, I think you put him in Yankee Stadium, like, he would pop, dude. You put this guy in Yankee Stadium, this guy's hitting 30 home runs a year. That's a stretch. Probably, like, 25 home runs a year. But this dude's got pop. He's got speed. Like, he's an athlete. He's really good defensively. I mean, really good underselling. This guy's a freak defensively. Varsho rocks, dude. Like, I've always liked Dalton Varsho. Last 2 years, he's not, last 3 years he's been decent. He's not bad against lefties. He's just not great. But he's actually been worse against righties and lefties for most of his career. But Varsho, like, put him on the Yankees, I think he's fucking balling. I mean, he's already a baller on the Blue Jays, don't get me wrong. But I've always loved Dalton Varsho's game. Like, this guy's ridiculous in terms of defense. Like, you watch him play fucking right center field. Oh, my God. The guy's disgusting out there. And, yeah, you put him in Yankee Stadium, this guy might hit 30 home runs. Like, this guy I love him. Issues, obviously, like, the plate skills suck. How much do you want to pay for that? Like, again, the body's, like, giving out on him a couple times. Those kinds of things. But we'll see. I'll get into Dalton Varsho free agent profile in a year. I left Utica and live in Florida as well. Hey, Florida is and Cruise Control says a nice stream from Florida as well. Look, I think me personally, like I don't think I could do Florida in the summer because of the humidity, but in the winter, I imagine that thing is beautiful. I imagine that place is beautiful, and I love the food down there. I love the food down there for show. Have you ever been to PNC Field? I have not. I've never been to PNC Field. I've actually never been to Pittsburgh. Let's see. Clint's channel is a clickbait channel. His titles and thumbnails are just hating on the Yankees, bring views and rile up the fan base. Look, I'm gonna say a respect game. Like I've always on this channel like avoided being. There's like one exception, I think. There's like one exception if you are here. If you follow my like socials, but I try to like avoid bashing creators from the Yankee space who like don't do anything outright like horrible. The reason I say that is because I don't have to agree with it, but at the end of the day, I'm sure I'm going to do something stupid on social media. I'm sure I've done stupid things and said stupid things, not like derogatory, but like Yankees related, like say something that ages poorly, whatever it may be. And I hope that people don't judge me at my lowest of takes and kind of I don't want to do what I hope people don't do to me, which is like only focus on my worst traits and not kind of give me the benefit of the doubt. Now, I don't have to like their content straight up. I don't have to watch it. I don't have to like it, but people like it. People watch Clint Frazier. People watch other people, and you know what? That's them. And I at the end of the day, man, what am I gonna do about it? I'm not gonna hate. So, that's how I operate with this stuff. I'm not saying that's how everybody's got to operate, or, oh, look at me, I'm so good. I mean, at the end of the day, like, it's kind of selfish. It's almost like it's a selfish reason in a sense. It's like I don't want people to perceive me in that way, so I'm not going to perceive other people in that way. It's kind of selfish, but I don't think it's like I'm so great. Like, I think it's a selfish kind of. If you really boil it down, it's kind of selfish. I don't really understand the Boone hate. People got to take a breath and remember how bad the twilight of the Tory era was. Look, I think that part of this too is like if you want to, how do I put this? Aaron Boone, I think, has flaws as a manager. Aaron Boone has flaws as a manager. He's not perfect. But with that being said, I think Aaron Boone is a good culture guy. I think that if the Yankees miss the playoffs this year, yeah, I'm pretty sure I'd say like fire him. If you want to say like he's redundant and you gotta shake things up, like my interpretation of the Yankees is that there's something they're lacking and I want to shake things up. Okay, fine. Like I'm not gonna say you're a moron for it. I don't agree. I don't think that's what I would do right now as things stand right now. And there are like times where I've been like, I think if I was the owner, I would have fired Boone. But I think when you get to like kind of like look back on the scope of the season, in most scenarios, I'm like the roster or the roster wasn't good enough, or the roster was good enough, but the players didn't perform. That's usually where I end up with. And again, it's one of those weird things where it's like it's not quantitative, it's qualitative. So we can't really assign numbers or weights to what Aaron Boone's impact is. We can't assign weights in the sense that we can blame him for this or not blame him for that. We really don't know. So if you think that Aaron Boone's a problem, that's fine. I don't agree. I think that there are other places I would go before blaming Boone at the end of a season. But I'm sure there's going to be a point in time if the Yankees don't win a World Series where we're going to have the conversation. But I do think he's a better manager than end of tenure Girardi. I can't speak to end of tenure Torrey. I was like 4. But end of tenure Girardi, I think, was a worse manager than current day Boone. And I think Girardi's like one of the best broadcasters in baseball, by the way. I love Joe Girardi, the broadcaster. And I think as a manager, like he was a really good manager in his career because, I mean, he accomplished a World Series title. Yankees were always competitive under him. Like, I think he was a good manager too. I just think the end of tenure Girardi had kind of been phased out of baseball. Yeah. Ryan, you have a nicer hat, and that's all that matters in this gig. I like this hat so much, man. I really do. Boone's a nice coach, but not for the Yankees. Not for the Yanks. I feel like just because of his laid-back nature, but then again, I'm not in the clubhouse. And look, man, that's fine. You can say, hey, I prefer my managers to have a little more, kind of more up your ass a little bit. That's fine. I saw Mike Brown, or Tyler Kolek came out and said that Mike Brown basically told him, hey, if you're going to shoot that many shots, you better fucking make them. And I think Brown also called out like Cat for something. Boone, I don't think would do that. Or at least I don't know if he would do that. And that's something that I think is fair to say, like, hey, I wish the manager of the New York Yankees was more willing to do that and had the buy-in of his clubhouse to pull things like that off. I don't think it's why they haven't won a World Series, but I think that's a fair thing to say. I think it's also fair to say, like, Boone is a little too laid back with some starting decisions. Like, sometimes we'll just leave a guy out there for no reason. Like, he'll be like, oh, well, I'm gonna let him out there and let him ride, and I trust my guy. Like, no. We need to win this game. Like, it's every game matters. Like, you want to win the division. Yes, for Cat with his fouls. Yes, that's a great point. Yes, L-Train. That's exactly what I was referring to. It is fair to say that, like, hey, why can't Aaron Boone also do that? It's also fair to say that I don't think that's why you haven't won a World Series. So it goes both ways. I don't think Aaron Boone gets enough credit for good moves when he makes them, when he brings in the right guy to hit, when he brings in the right guy out of the bullpen, when he pulls a start at the right time, when he makes the right starting decision, things of that nature. I personally don't believe that is something that Boone is getting credit for at times, but I also think, again, like, there are things to criticize. Yeah, I don't need public outlashes, but there's here and there, public accountability would be nice. That's fair. Kelvin Jennings, I have a question about the management of Volpe. Where 25, I think there were like spurts, like weeks, where you're like, oh man, I wouldn't start Volpe. But at the end of the day, we're talking like a net, like 10 games maybe, where Volpe like should have been benched for Caballero, in my opinion. Do you think in 24, 23, or like first half 25, like the Yankees had a way to bench Volpe? Because I don't think they did. His backup was Oswald Peraza and IKF for like 2.5 years. Those guys suck. You know what I mean? So, like, even there, I'm like, okay, do I think they should have a better backup shortstop? Sure. I don't know. Like, I mean, that's a whole other conversation. But I don't think that's an Aaron Boone conversation. He doesn't build the roster. So when you talk about, like, roster construction, that stops being an Aaron Boone problem. But we would all prefer a Pat Murphy type of manager. And look, I think Pat Murphy is this beautiful marriage between, like, able to kind of keep guys on their toes, but also a forward enough thinking manager where a very forward thinking organization brought him in as the manager and kept him and has enjoyed their time with him. I do think there are a couple of things, again, that he would not get criticized for that Aaron Boone would get criticized for. I think that's also fair to say. But again, as we kind of, man, I keep coming back to this point of like Aaron Boone. Yeah, look, Aaron Boone lashed out at Meredith to defend Volpe because that's part of the job, right? Because we have to think there is so much. There's so much. What am I trying to say here? Vitriol. There we go. Vitriol that these players face. Yeah, the manager's going to go out and defend them. So I don't hate Boone for that. I don't think that's wrong. As everything Yanks points, like, feels like Volpe's more organizational. Yeah, we would not care what Boone thought of Volpe if Volpe didn't get as much run as he did last year, which I think has to do with the fact that the roster's never had a better option at shortstop. I didn't think the need for a better option at shortstop was that apparent in 24, but I think now in 25, yeah, you have to question how he's going to come back from injury. You have to question the bat's never going to get better, most likely. So, I think that's roster construction. That might be financial flexibility, the ability to spend on a shortstop on top of some other needs. So, again, I look at Aaron Boone and I go, what's his fault? What's not his fault? Right? And I think that's where I think a lot of people assign blame to things that aren't his fault. But I also think there are things that you can properly assign to Aaron Boone. Yeah. I love Fireside Yankees, but the cover that you throw Boone and Cashman is over the top, and this is just a result of not seeing a dynasty, which the Yankees should be shooting for. I don't think it's a result of not seeing a dynasty as much as it is a result of... So for Boone, it's just that I don't criticize him for things that... I try and criticize him for things that I think are his fault. And for Cashman, I try and criticize him for things that I think are his fault. That is what I try and do. And so I'm always going to criticize those two less than the public, because the public is always going to criticize them more than what they should actually be getting blamed for. So again, how do I kind of, what kind of point am I making here? I don't think this is not a, I'm always going to defend Boone and Cashman. This is a more times than not, the public evaluation of Cashman and Boone is over-scrutinized because they are in the New York media, because we are separated from the game, because we are not inside an organization, because we don't properly understand the roles that these guys play, and because we can't properly assign blame the way that I think we can when we're not emotional and kind of upset about an outcome of a game. So I say it all to say, like, I don't assign him blame for things that they don't... I do not assign blames for things you don't control. I assign blame for things you can control. I don't believe the Yankees have not won a World Series because of the hiring of Aaron Boone. I believe the Yankees... I don't think Aaron Boone's the best manager in baseball, but I don't think they haven't won a World Series under Boone because of Boone, if that makes sense. It's one of those things I kind of mentioned this with, like, playoff production. Just because you have not does not mean you cannot. Just because Aaron Boone has not won a World Series championship does not mean you cannot win a World Series championship under Boone. I saw a previous comment about, like, the closest they ever got since after 2009 was 2017. No, they got to the World Series in 2024. They were in every single game except for game 3, I'm sorry. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. That's it. It's not that, those two guys are blame free, but it's that they aren't. I don't think they're bad at their jobs. I just think they're solid at their jobs. I think Boone, I think he saw it at his job. Boone, I like Cashman more than I like Boone probably, just because I think that Cashman's pre-09 resume is elite. I think that the team is usually like there was a lull in the mid-2010s where they did not have like a good organizational process in place, but I think he really helped clean that up a lot. I think the back end of Cashman's general managerial career is very underrated. So yeah. That's where I'm at. In your opinion, do you think Cashman's holding them back? No, I don't. I think that. So let's kind of break down the playoff teams: 17, 18, 19, 20, like all that stuff. 17. What I think ended up not really working out in their favor was they traded for Sonny Gray, and Justin Verlander gets traded to the Astros, and that doesn't work out for the Yankees. Now, I don't think without hindsight. And yes, I'm still going live with Derek tonight. I'm actually doing that right after this. Right after this, I'm going live with Derek. So that is happening. Yeah. Okay. So with Cashman here, you don't trade for Verlander. You trade for Gray. I don't think there was enough in hindsight to say the New York Yankees should have known that they should have traded for Verlander and not Gray. I think that's an important part of this conversation. In 18, trading for Happ instead of Eovaldi. If you trade for Eovaldi instead of Happ, you traded for Stanton. You traded for Giancarlo Stanton. You traded for the reigning NL MVP. The public consensus was that Giancarlo Stanton was a better baseball player or as good of a baseball player as Aaron Judge. And it didn't work out the way they hoped it would. The Giancarlo Stanton trade, let's be honest, the regular season production has not been what you hoped it would be. And he had one of his few bad postseasons was his 2018 postseason. So, yes, you should have traded for Cole in 18. I think that is one of Cashman's missteps. Yes, that is a Cashman misstep. That was a Cashman misstep. That is like a legitimate Cashman misstep, but you could even ask the question, does Garrett Cole beat the Red Sox for you? And you have to look at, the infrastructure you had pitching-wise. Do you get Garrett Cole 2021, 22, 23, 24 that you got production-wise without him going to the Astros? That's all part of this conversation as well. So, again, it's there are so many ripple effects. We can go and dissect every single freaking decision. And I think it comes down to more of the fact, I think the things we can more easily kind of hone in on. For Harper Machado, great question. I think that was an ownership situation. You can't convince me that Brian Cashman did not want to sign one of those two players. I think that was a financial thing, not a GM doesn't want these two players thing. Trying to turn and we're going to wrap up in a few here so I can get ready to go on pinstripe territory at 9. Couple of things. Yankees ran into a bunch of dominant teams, but I don't think that's an excuse. The thing that worked against them the most in this tenure, in this era, was that they never really got that well-timed playoff run from Aaron Judge. They never really got that consistent starter that they could add. Things never it never clicked in the postseason with their young guys. And I think that's a big part of this conversation as well. Severino was terrible in the postseason. Sanchez was terrible in the postseason. Judge spent a good chunk of his major league career as a not great postseason hitter, or at least a playoff dropper. If you want to, the baby bomber era I defined as 2017 to 2019. Because a lot of these teams featured Severino, Sanchez, Judge, and a lot of Glaber and Andujar, so that's why I look at them from that standpoint. I'm going to put at least 10 plate appearances. Yeah. Their best hitters, minimum 10 plate appearances in the postseason. DJ from 17 to 19, DJ, 1 year. Bird, 1 year. Torres, 2 years. Judge was actually really good over this stretch. And then Voit was above average, and everybody else was below average. Stain, Urshela, Didi, Hicks, Andujar, Sanchez. Sanchez hit 176 with a 36% strikeout rate in 27 playoff games from 17 to 19. Headley was really bad in his playoff run. Ellsbury, obviously. McCutchen got on base never in the postseason. Castro was bad in his playoff run. Frazier was bad in his playoff run. Gardy was really bad in the playoffs over this stretch. 191, 271, 277. Encarnacion was a dud addition in the postseason. And Duhar was a dud in the postseason. Hicks was a dud in the postseason. Didi, I know that we all remember the 19 home runs, but and the 17 home runs and the wild card games. But overall, 255, 315, 429 slash, 90 WRC plus, not a great slash line. Urshela, not a great slash line. 242, 286, 455. Stanton, 242, 286, 455. 412, excuse me. And he got hurt in 19 in that ALCS. Voit, he didn't play. He got hurt at the end of 19. So my point in all this is that really didn't help. Then from a pitching standpoint, Tanaka was awesome. Tanaka was fucking incredible. But he's severing out a 5.17 ERA and a 5.92 FIP. Green was really bad in the postseason. CeCe had a couple of really good starts, but you couldn't really push him deep into the postseason. He was on his last legs in 18 and 19. Your bullpen was fine. Your rotation sucked. I'm trying to think of other guys who took the ball for the Yankees in the postseason. God. Paxton had a couple of good starts in there, but wasn't consistent. Gray was pretty bad in October for us. Again, they just didn't get it to click. The players didn't get it to click. And I think that was what hurt them so much over 17, 8, 19. And they ran into really good teams. Every single time they got knocked out, it was by some 100-plus win team in 17, 18, 19. 2020, I mean, just bad pitching performances. They couldn't buy a good start from anybody other than Cole. I know Monty had that one, miracle start, but it was 4 innings pitched. He walked so many guys that start. This was such a bad pitching group. This group sucked pitching wise. They were so bad. 2020 so bad pitching wise. Offensively, they hit in that division series. I mean that wild card, but in the division series, woof. Division series was a woof, and it was inconsistent. And it went to 5. They were this close to getting past them, but 2020, no. 21, they just weren't a good team. And they were slow and they couldn't field. It was bad. 22, I mean. Dude, Aaron Judge hit 176. 139, sorry. Gleyber hit 176. Donaldson hit 172. Stan hit 188. They had 2 above-average hitters, and that was Bader and Rizzo. Oh, God, dude, that team got so burnt in the postseason. And then 24, Rizzo's an above-average hitter. Torres, Volpe, Stanton, even Cabrera's doing a little something. Soto's awesome. And Aaron Judge was just not good in that postseason. So, God, man, it all boils down to they couldn't get it all to click at the same time. That is why this group has not won a World Series. The players have not got it to click. And I'm not talking about role players. I'm talking about some really freaking good players who just haven't done it. You mean to tell me that Gary Sanchez wasn't a really freaking good player from 17 to 19 among catchers? You want to say defensively he had problems? Fine. Offensively, that dude was a freak from 17 to 19. That guy was a freak among catchers. That guy was a monster. I don't want to hear that this guy wasn't a beast offensively during that time period. I mean, you want to look at catchers who got at least 500 plate appearances over that stretch. Gary Sanchez had the 4th best qualified and weighted runs created plus. He had 85 home runs. Nobody else was within 10 home runs of this guy. And he couldn't freaking hit in October over that stretch. So, yeah, I don't know. And 24, the bad defense, the bad defense, yeah. Bullpen couldn't close leads. Bad defense, God, man. How can you sit here and tell me that's can you sit here and tell me Aaron Judge dropping a fly ball is on Cashman or Boone? I don't know. Anywho, we're going to start wrapping things up here on the Fireside Yankees live stream. Join us on Pinstripe Territory with Derek for what should be a very fun stream. I'm very excited to hop on. We're going to be doing a show talking about Kyle Tucker. Really, really excited. You guys should tune in. You should check us out. If you're watching here on Fireside Yankees, thank you for tuning in. This is our first time streaming on OBS. I apologize for all the hoopla you guys had to deal with throughout the stream. If you can. We'll see you guys tomorrow for another video, and we'll have some more streams coming out. I might be snowed in, so I might stream tomorrow night as well. I'll keep you guys up to date. We're going to have a consistent streaming schedule coming out of the new year, so you guys will know the days we stream. But, again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, everybody. Let's go, Yankees. Peace.